nightmarish this evening with the IT, but we are back, and for the third time, we're here to talk FIFA 22. We're here to talk the death of Pro Evolution Soccer. We're here to talk about gaming that you'll see on the channel, and we are here to talk favourite Minnow Nation players from around the world. I've already asked you twice how you are. I'll ask a third time.
Dude, I'm loving how caring you're being today. You keep asking me how well I am.
You're very special to me.
I'm superb. I'm great, mate. I'm great. I'll be even happier when these IT issues are firmly in the bin. But no, I'm here, man. I'm here. We're good. We're here. We think the audio's working. We think the Wi-Fi connection is fairly strong. Who knows? But
shall I get rid of this coat hanger that you can also see behind me?
Oh yeah, super legit.
It's just that professional feel.
Also, I can see the reflection of your TV screen. I can see the light that you. Yeah, there we go. Love that. Just to put a little bit of a glow to your bonks, mate. I've had the kettle on. We're ready. We've got a bit of a
my brew's sweet. My brew's cold by the time we've got around to actually doing this now.
Yeah, right. I know. We've got a bit of a short and sweet one tonight, haven't we?
We do now. Yeah.
Normally we'd. Wow, yeah, that's true. Normally we'd. Have a really good chat on Thursday, but we have got we're watching West Ham, aren't we?
We are the Mighty Hammers,
and West Ham are in the Europa League in Zagreb tomorrow night, so we want to watch that. So yes, we are. We're talking gaming. It's a really cool conversation topic, one that we kind of frequently nerd out on, and one that's coming to the channel. Will be coming to the channel quite a bit. Definitely be really good for Twitch.
Yes,
we want YouTube and Twitch to sort of both be sort of strong and kind of grow and all that. And I think kind of the gaming side of what we want to do will really help the Twitch side of things. Whereas, not sure how it'll go on YouTube. It probably will. But for Twitch, for gaming, some of the stuff that we've got planned is pretty good. I mean, this all kind of stems from that post we put on Instagram last night of all the work that we've done.
Yeah.
On those international teams, which looks really great. I always think, and I think that should be something that we share quite a bit on Instagram actually, because I think it's something that those players of like the players of the nations that we love and adore at that lower part of the FIFA ranking ladder, they'd probably look at it and be like, oh, what is that? That's really cool. So yeah, no, it was really cool. I mean, kind of, I don't know if you want to, I guess, sort of talk about the backstory to how all that came about.
Yeah, sure. So, as you guys will probably know, as we spoke about, I think in our first stream, we really loved FIFA 2010 World Cup game, the South Africa game, best game for its time, and then the 2014 World Cup game, which wasn't a great game, but still had every FIFA nation on the planet that you could play with, and us and our friends regularly play as Ryan says, you know, those teams kind of ranked certainly lower than 100 in the world, but tend to be even lower than 150, you know, the 150 to 210 region of the world, and just play friendlies and just get to know these players and get to love these nations. But FIFA then didn't do that in 2018. I think there was a World Cup add-on to FIFA that just had the 32, but that's not what we want. We don't care about that. So we then, after just randomly seeing some research that you found on Pro Evolution Soccer, bought PES 20 and just created our own World Cup game, which is exactly the pictures that you'd have seen on our Instagram, which is at DNQ Football, for anyone that wants to follow that. Yeah, nice plug.
Nice plug.
And and like you say, you know, we posted it, a few different clips of teams lining up against each other, and some pretty cool player interaction there. You know, lots of players sharing it, and like you say, for these players that have never been on any of these games before, and obviously now probably won't ever be on a FIFA again if FIFA stops making the game. It's nice to see that there's still some fans out there that want to create these teams and see these fixtures. So that's exactly what we've done.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and I think with that. So I mean, just sort of taking a step back. So I randomly saw some PES content. So I used to play FIFA every year. We used to play FIFA every year. Yeah. But I think in 2012, 2013, I dabbled with a couple of PES games that were pretty good. So I've always been aware of, you know, what the game's like and that it's decent. It's a decent sort of footballing game alternative to FIFA. And I randomly came across someone that had created Having a Waterville, I think. And I looked into it. I was like, oh, what is this sort of team edit thing? We were randomly out one day, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to grab this game, see what it is. I think it was like 20 quid. And I almost think that was the purchasing that, and then sort of building out those teams as we have done now, and we continue to do so and to update. Was almost the resurgence in our kind of
love for it, really.
Yeah. I think I was trying to think of maybe love wasn't the right. Yeah, no, I think love probably is. And that kind of kick-started this, and then ultimately probably could say that would we now be doing this channel and speaking to players if we hadn't have kind of almost taken it upon ourselves to reinvigorate kind of the footballing game that we loved growing up. So yeah, for anyone that watches this back, maybe it's something that could get snifted and chucked on the old IG. But for anyone that is interested in, I guess, sort of what those teams are and what the game looks like, and the work that we've done on PES 2020, drop us a message on Instagram, because if it's something that you want to get involved in or download or anything, we'd be more than happy to talk you through how it works. But yeah, so I mean that kind of, so we'll be balancing that international kind of the work that we've done on PES 2020, that international work, we're balancing that out with some FIFA 22 Ultimate Team stuff, won't we, across the Twitch channel? So gaming is going to be a cool part of this Twitch offering.
Yeah, the gaming part will be huge. So in and amongst all the stuff that we've done on PES and creating these teams and sharing that so that the players can see what that's like, there is, the more up to date and potentially getting a few more people just from around the world to see this page at least, which will be, primarily myself trying to win games on FIFA 22 Ultimate Team, trying to get to the Weekend League or whatever they pick. They change it all the time, don't they, Ultimate Team? With a team made up of Minnow Nation players. I'm talking, that one of the best players that I'll have will be someone like Lyle Taylor, who of course plays up front in the Championship and represents Montserrat. You've got Henok Goitom as well, the Eritrean, who plays in the Allsvenskan in Sweden. So, these are the types of players, and just, really partly just falling back in love with some of these nations that maybe I don't know that much about, because it's difficult to stay on top of all these nations, but also just discovering these absolute gems from around the world and trying to create this team based solely on where the team is ranked in the world. So going right the way from, San Marino all the way to a complete squad of 18.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. I think you'd have some challenges there, obviously, not only coming up against
Mbappe,
team of the week Ronaldo, but also trying to build out like a team on, I've not played on the team for ages actually, but you have to build out a team that has good chemistry.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
But it's quite surprising because actually some of these leagues around the world you find, for example, the French Ligue 2, full of African Minnow Nation players who may have sort of been born and raised in France but are able to represent, some of these African countries. And you get really rogue ones, like the Turkish League randomly has a lot of Minnow Nation players. Same with the likes of Sweden and Norway in those leagues as well. So it will be tough to get good chemistry. And I mentioned Lyle Taylor. He might not be able to get in the team, like you say, because there aren't that many players in the Championship,
No.
So it will be tough.
Yeah, it'd be cool. But that'll all be coming to the Twitch side of stuff soon, won't it? And I think, I'm looking forward to seeing you crack on. We'll be keen to get involved as well, albeit my FIFA ability is not what it used to be.
Me neither.
And kind of, I think, just sort of taking a step back and like all the work that we did on PES and kind of building out that game and the rejuvenation or the reinvigoration of kind of our interest in all of this stuff. It's almost made us, as we've sort of spoke about, fall back in love with it, but then sort of want to then take the time to research these players and then also how these nations are getting on in real life, which then in turn has led us to almost sort of build out just an admiration for these players and kind of what they're going for at the moment, and how the nations are evolving, how they're progressing and developing, etc., etc., etc. And we thought that kind of nicely sort of segues into, I guess, our sort of through researching the teams and the players, and then playing with them on our sort of version of the game, and then watching them in real life and sort of seeing how their qualification journey unfolds. To sort of use the last sort of 10 minutes of what we've got just to chat through, almost sort of top 5 favourite Minnow Nation players currently.
Yes.
And we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? And it was kind of like we weren't quite sure the best way of sort of detailing this list. Is it the kind of our opinion of the 5 best players, or kind of the underrated players? But we've almost just sort of gone for it to be our 5 favourites, haven't we? Currently, for a plethora of reasons. So I don't know what you've put.
Well, I was just going to say it's tough, isn't it? Because also wanted to try and avoid the obvious ones and some of the players that, of course, we're interviewing, which would make the list. But trying to think outside the box a little bit, because you say favourite 5 Minnow Nation players, and that's sometimes the difficulty with this channel, is it's so hard to stay on top of all the players for all these nations. Yeah. But I have got a list. I have got a top 5. Have you got a top 5?
I've got a top 5. I'd be interested here to see, because I've not gone. I've
got them in my book. Look,
sort of generic. I've kind of gone away from, I guess, the with
my
the
blue book.
I've gone away from the kind of the obvious and the kind of the nations that we have a little bit more of an affiliation, a softer spot for.
You struggle with your S's, I get that.
Yeah, clearly. So why don't you go? Why don't you just name your? I tell you what. Why don't you do one, and then I'll tell you what. You do your 5, and then I'll do my 5, and then I'd be keen to go back to maybe get a reason as to why that they are in your favourite Minnow Nation players currently.
Absolutely. I will go.
Of controversial ones. So go on, you go.
So I'll go, and I'm going to say the player's name, where they play, and for what nation, as in position and nation.
Okay.
Or even I'll just do player and nation, actually.
Sweet.
Cool.
Your top 5 favourite Minnow Nation players currently.
My top 5 Minnow Nation players, in no particular order. Elia Benedettini of San Marino. Najmud Sedembal of Mongolia. Niki Tarau of Macau. Rowan Lebird of St Kitts and Nevis. And Matthew Davies of Malaysia.
Yeah, okay, nice. So we have only got one that matches.
Okay.
So before I do mine, guess which yours are. Guess the matching one that you think that we've both gone for.
I think it's Sedembal.
It is Sedembal. So mine, I've got them jotted down here.
Go on, you run through.
My top 5. Brian Kaltak of Vanuatu. Najmud Sedembal. Billy Forbes of the TCA, which I know is very kind of... I knew that you wouldn't, but I felt that we kind of had to on this channel. Billy Forbes of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Bertrand Kai of New Caledonia. And a controversial one is Gerson Rodriguez of
Luxembourg.
I'll add some more context around that in a sec, but I will first let you add the context around your
my top 5
selections for your favourite. Well, you know what? Let's not call them top 5. It's the favourite 5, isn't it? The favourite 5 at the moment.
It's the favourite 5 at the moment. I was going to say you've almost made me look bad for not including my favourite footballer on the planet, Billy Forbes, but I feel like I caveated appropriately. Anyway, Benedettini, goalkeeper for the San Marino. Now, San Marino are ranked 209 currently in FIFA Men's World Rankings. Benedettini has probably got the hardest job in football, in international football, I'd say.
Yeah.
Every single game, he is up against, the likes of England. Of course, we played them semi-recently. He's 27 caps in between the sticks. And I just think, for a guy who plays for arguably one of the worst nations on the planet, certainly, obviously the worst nation in Europe, and to play in goal, I think he turns in some really good performances. He did against England, and even it's tough because even though they concede 4 or 5 in games, they concede so many chances. There's so many shots on goal, and he is a very, very solid GK for that nation.
Yeah, no, it's a really good shout actually, and when you kind of put the context behind it, it stands out. It really does stand out. I mean, in summary, they get battered. They even lost 2-0. Yeah. They even lost 2-0 to Andorra.
Exactly.
In the kind of the battle of the Minnows, didn't they? Recently, they get battered every game. So he has a heck of a lot of work to do every game, and more often than not, puts in some proper sort of sturdy performances. So it's a really good shout. I guess so for my first one, Brian Countact, 21 caps, 5 goals for Vanu. I think this is more of just like a respect to what is a hell of a defender. Big, powerful centre back. Been part of a successful Vanuatu team, and been at Auckland City since 2018, and done some great things there. There's not a huge amount to say, is there? There's just apart from a kind of a huge respect and admiration for him as a really, really solid defender for that region. We're kind of waiting for that region to sort of re-kick off, aren't we? So it'll be interesting to see how him and that exciting Vanuatu team get on, actually.
They'd be my shout for second. If I had to pick one.
That's
another stream for sure.
That's another stream.
Yeah, because there's a few good sides in there, but absolutely Countact, one of the standout players for Vanuatu. I respect it as a shout. Should we both run through Norjmu and why we believe that Stellenbosch should be in the team?
I'll just start my points on this, because my first point on Stellenbosch is that kind of I think he's a player that almost sums up the channel.
Yeah.
In the sense that Mongolia captain, 35 caps. He's officially the joint highest appearance maker in Mongolian international history. He needs one more appearance to become their all-time leading appearance maker.
Yep.
And so I was looking at this earlier because I knew that that we'd watched those World Cup qualifiers. He'd scored 2 goals in that first round, so he's got 7 goals in his 35 appearances, 3 in his last 6. Oh. And those sort of 2 goals in their first round qualification, where they beat Brunei or Bhutan. Was it Brunei?
One of them. I was literally just thinking which one was it.
It was Brunei. It was definitely Brunei. Because Bhutan... It was Brunei, because they beat Brunei 3-2.
Okay. They lost the second game, I know that much.
Yeah, so they beat them 3-2 on aggregate, and he scored 2 of the goals. And it just... He's got a cracking left peg. That free kick for one of the goals in I think the first game was just insane. And the fact that kind of he, through those performances in those games, took Mongolia into the second round of qualification. The first time that they've got through the first round since 2002. And I was looking because they've played 10 games in World Cup qualifiers for the 2022 World Cup. 10 games. They lost sort of famously 14-0 to Japan, didn't they? Only a few months ago or whatever. But the fact that they've played 10 games is the most games they've ever played as part of any World Cup qualifying campaign. And I just think a player, we've got a history with sort of loving Mongolia, and a player that sort of symbolises that and the channel is Stellenbosch.
Yeah, there's really not a huge amount that I can add. My notes are Mongolia 185 in the world, and then I've put 35 caps, 7 goals, worldy left foot. And I think that there's not a lot else you can say. The free kicks, like you've seen, absolutely stunning. And I don't know, just quickly touching on Mongolia, I don't know if you happen to see their new kit release.
Yeah, I did.
It was published today. So they've got a couple of funky designs.
That'll be a new purchase. That'll be a new kit.
Shirt reveal.
We'll do a little. Yeah, shirt reveal. That's it. Go on. Your third, mate.
My third is Nikki Tarao.
Yeah, the legend that is.
The legend that is the veteran forward for Macau. Now, Macau is famously known for just being a sort of giant casino of a nation. And it actually, weirdly enough, features in Shang-Chi.
Oh, does it?
It does. There's a
Of course it does,
there's a 10-minute spell in Macau, which, as I'm sure you can appreciate, me and the guys very much enjoyed when we went to see the film. And of course, it's centred around gambling. But a player that has scored 8 goals in 15 games for Macau, which,
pretty good.
When you think about the side that they are, Macau, you know, generally don't win many games at all.
Nah.
That is a very, very good record.
Mm.
He's played for pretty much every major club in Macau, as you'd expect. You know, there's a weird link, isn't there, between Portuguese clubs and clubs in Macau. So he's played for Benfica de Macau and Sporting Macau.
He's a goal machine in that domestic league, isn't he?
He is, absolutely. He's absolutely a goal machine still. You know, and I just think, what a passionate player.
Mm-hmm.
They've got players like Lam and Gai Tong, and a lot of players, you know, Ng Hwa Seng and Ng Hwa Keng. And then all of a sudden, they've got this guy up front, Nikita Rao.
With some Portuguese flair. Some Portuguese sauce up there.
Exactly. And I just think one of the most passionate nations to compete. They were very unfortunate, as we've discussed many times, to go out in the first round in Asia because of the way that things went in their fixture against Sri Lanka. But what a passionate player, and I hope that he's still playing as we progress through to the kind of next World Cup qualifiers in a number of years' time.
Yeah, for sure. My third spot. So this is obviously in no particular order. Was Billy Forbes. You did mention him, so one of us had to. It'll be a player that we probably speak about a lot on the channel, so there's no point going into anything too heavy. But TCA captain, 16 appearances and 8 goals, especially considering the teams that he plays against. Just a bit of a TCA leader legend, isn't it? Really, always puts his all in kind of for his country, and I think that's always impressive. Is he's a professional footballer in the United States, playing at a very, very good level, and he could easily sort of go, oh no, I'm not available for international duty, but always willing to come back and plays his all for the shirt, and is proud to pull on that TCA crest every time, and kind of gives it his all, despite being at a level, TCA ranked 206 in the world, and he's their best ever player by kind of a country mile. Just a cracking left peg, great goal scorer, incredible player, and you're a big fan.
Oh, absolutely. As you know, I've got a signed Billy Forbes shirt. I've obviously, huge fan of the Turks and Caicos Islands and all their players. But Billy Forbes, like you say, the best ever Turks and Caicos Islands international. What a player he is, and he's doing wonders for Miami FC in the second tier of American football as well, which is great to see. I'm looking forward to the next Nations League to see what the Turks and Caicos Islands can do with a full strength squad.
Yeah, for sure.
Fourth on my list then is UK-based St Kitts and Nevis forward Rowan LeBird. So St Kitts and Nevis are actually quite highly ranked, 138 in the world. I didn't realise, quite high. LeBird, 29 years of age, plays up front, 5 goals in 9 games for them. More and more in the squad now. Obviously, more games played now.
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5", ballpark height. The guy is a monster, an absolute monster, and most recently was playing for Billericay in England, which is just incredibly passionate. Just an all-round striker that you absolutely, in terms of a gaming point of view, which you were touching on earlier, the ultimate forward. He's got pace, he's got power, he's got height, he's got finishing. Just an all-round beast for St Kitts and Nevis. And I just think I felt like I needed to include a St Kitts and Nevis player because they got out that group and they got to that next stage of World Cup qualifiers, which, obviously they then ultimately went out. It was El Salvador they went out to, wasn't it? Which, is fair enough, and El Salvador have been doing really well in the octagonal so far. But, St Kitts, to get through their group in the new format and to get to that stage, one off the final group, incredible achievement for that nation, and let's see what they can do in years to come.
A bit of a kind of an off-piste shout with the bird as part of that St Kitts and Nevis team, but I like it. I've got time for it. My fourth is I think that this player is on that same lines as Sedembar, actually from Mongolia, Bertrand Kai of New Caledonia, 38-year-old living legend.
Yeah.
New Caledonia's both their leading appearance maker with 41 caps, highest goal scorer ever with 23 goals. He's played for the national team for 13 years. So we made his debut in 2008. Also, kind of from a club side, I know we focus on an international side, but from a club side, an OFC Champions League winner in 2019, just an elite striker for that Oceanic region, and a New Caledonia icon, basically, and someone that I think sums up our, I guess, kind of like our love for the channel in a way, isn't it? A player like that, a kind of a just a kind of a living legend for New Caledonia.
You know, it's difficult because sometimes you look at these top players for these nations, and a lot of them play in other countries. You know, we touched on Billy Forbes, obviously plays in America. Goitom is Eritrean, plays in, you know, Sweden and things like that. And often, you know, I suppose Lyle Taylor's a similar example as well, although a lot of Montserrat players play here in the UK. But the fact that Kai has spent, you know, certainly the majority of his career playing in New Caledonia, you know, winning the New Caledonian League, like you say, winning the Oceanic Champions League just 2 years ago, you know, in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
To play in Oceania, where there aren't that many fixtures, and to have 41 international caps is absolutely outrageous. Yeah. And obviously he's backed that up with goals as you'd expect him to. He's an absolute talisman, and like you say, an icon, a living legend for that region of the game.
Yeah, well
fully
said.
Back there.
Well said. That's a good point. It's a good point on the cap side of things, actually. They don't play an abundance of games over there, do they? So to rack up that many caps, to batter that many goals in, it's incredible. Funnily enough, actually, Emile Beroun is second in appearances. He's on 39.
That doesn't surprise me.
So they're both still playing, you know. But so we'll see how that ends up. But yeah, just a legend. I had to include him in my current favourite 5 Minnow Nation players.
Yeah, no, I love it. And last on my list, but by no means least, I know we're a bit short for time, but I don't want to rush this too much. Matthew Davies. And if you were to say the name Matthew Davies, you wouldn't immediately jump to the conclusion that he represents Malaysia internationally. But I was doing some research on this earlier. You know, Malaysia 154 in the world. He plays, you know, right back, 33 caps for them, which is, you know, pretty good. Matthew Davies, born and raised in Australia, but his mother is Malaysian. And, you know, what I didn't realise, what I really appreciate about Matthew Davies is he moved to Malaysia when he was just 20 years old, because he was playing in the A-League and thought, you know what, this isn't going to do it for me. I'm not going to be able to represent my country. I'm not going to be able to represent Australia if I'm playing in the A-League. So he was just hungry to play international football, moved to Malaysia, got himself citizenship there. Now plays for Johor, who are the best team in Malaysia and are frequently in the AFC Champions League.
Yeah. Playing
consistently now for of course his mother's nation of Malaysia. And I just think that he's just a solid, he's a real athlete, he's a top player for that nation. And he's one of those players that's elevating Malaysia slowly to that next level, which I thought warranted inclusion in my top 5 favourites.
Nice, I like that a lot. It's a nice little bit of backstory there. And kind of a desire to play international football, which is, you know, we love a story like that, don't we? So that's really, really cool. When I listed this player out quickly in my 5, I said controversial. The only reason I say controversial, a little bit of a random one, is it's maybe about the ranking side of it, which I'll touch on in a sec. But Gerson Rodriguez of Luxembourg is a brilliant attacking player that's started to become more and more prominent, not only on the international stage, but kind of in the European stage as well. He plays for Dynamo Kiev. He's on loan at it's a French team this season. From an international standpoint, 8 goals in 38 appearances, 3 actually in his last 6, one of which was a bit of a cracker in a 3-1 defeat to Portugal. I think it was Portugal. And he's been a player that's been a big part of what's taken Luxembourg from a Minnow Nation. I don't think we can really call them a Minnow Nation anymore. This is why I said this was a controversial shout, because they're now actually a top 100 ranked side, which is kind of mad to think about.
It is,
I saw something earlier. Yeah, it really is. I saw something earlier that in 2006, Luxembourg were ranked 195th in the world in the FIFA rankings. 195th. They're now 96th. 96th. In 2018, they'd actually got up to their peak, which is 82nd. And just how mad is that?
It's a joke.
In the space of so from 12 years, they've gone from 195th in the rankings, right? So who's 195th in the rankings now? Someone, or kind of ballpark, let's say Eswatini or Eritrea are around there, aren't they? Those kind of teams, Cayman Islands.
Let me have a very quick look, actually, because I will be able to find it.
Imagine in sort of 10 years, they go relatively toe to toe with the likes of Portugal. That is kind of, and they lost 3-1, by the way, Luxembourg to Portugal. That is, Luxembourg always having kind of good results, aren't they, at the moment? They're a really kind of solid side in European qualification. And imagine in just over a decade, if you think now, in by 2030, 2031, if like a, who's around that mark at the moment, mate?
So 195, and I suppose this really brings it home, the level of improvement that we've seen from Luxembourg. 195 currently in the world is Timor-Leste.
Exactly what a shout that is. They didn't even get through. They lost
12-2.
12-2 to Malaysia in qualifying. So what a shout! Yeah, exactly what a comparative point that is. And he's part of that. And I just think,
he's a baller as well.
Yeah, he is. He's an absolute baller. Really creative, attacking player. Big, strong athlete as well. So, and I just think I kind of wanted to throw him in as one of my favourite 5 at the moment, because he's quite a prominent player as well at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just touching on Luxembourg quick, I remember that first World Cup game, 2010. I regularly played as Luxembourg. I had players like Strasser was their star player, and I think he was like a 60 rating, which then was amazing. But now, obviously, they're 1.5 star on kind of modern games. They're obviously on PES as a licensed European side, but we're talking about a team that's going up and up. I mean, I know they drew with Italy a few years ago, and that shocked the world. Yeah. But now they are more and more competitive with these nations.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I wanted to include them. They've got some other good players there. We could talk about them for ages. Actually, Maxine Chanot at the back and others. But no, that's it, mate. That kind of sums us up, and I think neatly. And this is going to be something we're going to have to come back to this almost in maybe 6 months' time. What are our kind of top 5 favourite Minnow Nations players? And then we should probably do a collection of what we think are the best. Who are the best players for Minnow Nations 11. In the world? Best 11. That's a good idea. That's all stuff that we can build out on and do later. I kind of like stuff like that. It's kind of nerd out on it, and it's always. Yeah, I always just think it's really, really cool.
Absolutely.
Is it worth? As I say, we're kind of
wrapping up.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up, but we are. I guess for anyone that kind of watches this back, this will be uploaded before the weekend, won't it? Are you available for that game Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're going to start kind of when opportunity presents itself. We're going to start to go to games where these kind of UK-based Minnow Nations players are playing, aren't we? Topic which would be really, really cool. Maybe we could do a little bit of get some stuff on the Instagram kind of as we're there. But we are going this weekend. We're watching Havant and Waterville versus, I think it's Beaconsfield in the FA Cup, which was a home tie for Beaconsfield, but it's been reversed, so it's being played at Havant and Waterville. So. For us, we're on kind of DNQ watch, going to watch former international players, Malta and former Sierra Leone striker as well. So the former Malta defender is Sam Magri, and Abdoulaye Belbaghi, the former Sierra Leone international striker as well. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys get on. They should win that FA Cup game. Havant against Beaconsfield, it'll be an interesting one. Magic of the Cup. Magic
of the FA Cup.
Yeah, exactly. So that'd be cool. We'll do that. That'll be. We'll have some stuff on the gram. Might do a little bit of stuff on YouTube for that. See how we get on.
And of
course,
make
sure you're following us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talking this weekend. Sorry to interrupt.
Go on.
Of course, Saturday we're on DNQ watch at the Havant game. Sunday is our first interview.
Yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? That'd be really, really good.
Josh Bertie's on the show.
Yeah. So for anyone that's that watches this back, the first, I guess, kind of the main premise of this channel is about anything and everything Minnow Nations football and shining a light on it. But a kind of a key way of doing that is by speaking to these players and kind of getting their thoughts. And their feelings and their experiences of coming up against international giants or just playing on that international stage. So that starts Sunday. We're interviewing young, dynamic fullback, come winger, come striker Josh Bertie of the British Virgin Islands. Really, really looking forward to speaking to Josh. You know, really appreciate him putting some time aside for us, actually. And it'd be really, really good to chat with him. So we'll be speaking with him on Sunday, and then that'll be on the channel early part of next week. And then we've got more, and we're going to kind of roll out more from there, aren't we? Which is going to be really cool. More
and more and more. It's going to be great.
Yeah, nice. Good stuff, pal.
But for now, my friend, I'm going to say TTFN.
Yes, mate. Ta-ta for now. If you are watching, hit subscribe. Twitch, YouTube, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're a little bit slack on the old Twitter activity at the moment, but we're far better on the ground. So, ground, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We'll see you there, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Good to speak to you as always, my friend. And I will. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do, pal. See you tomorrow.
See you later, mate.